Ladies and gentlemen of Master Duel, James Polk here, once again, the epic conclusion of Theme Chronicles. The adventure continues one last time before the deck profile for you guys. So, disclaimer about Solfachord archetype cards. We are going to go over the Solfachord archetypes and then obviously followed by match replays, and then it's the deck profile after. So Solfachords are all about, as noted, the lower the level, the higher the scale. The higher the level, the lower the scale. The way how this works is scales 5 through 8 share the same pendulum effect, which is pendulum summons of your Solfachord pendulum monsters cannot be negated, which means no Solemn Brigade, no negate the summons in any shape or form to some degree, and so on. And then scales 1 through 4 share the exact same pendulum scale effect. Your opponent cannot activate a spell trap, card, or monster effect when your Solfachord pendulum monster is pendulum summoned. So generally the idea is, if you happen to widespread the scale range of 1 through 8, most cases 1 through 9, thanks to the field spell, not only they cannot negate your pendulum summoned Solfachord monsters, but as soon as your Solfachord pendulum monsters are pendulum summoned, your opponent cannot pretty much do anything as of 99.99% of the time. And when it comes to Solfachords, they all do something depending on if you have an even scale or odd scale. Cutia. While you have an even scale, Solfachord pendulum monsters gain 100 times their own scale. Upon no more special, she is the Stratos of Solfachord monsters. Except Cutia. Dreamia. While you have an odd scale, if a Solfachord pendulum monster cards you control will be killed by your opponent's card effects, destroy this instead. So saving grace, and if you happen to have a pendulum scale of a Solfachord name to be specific, free special from the hand. Elitia. While you have an even scale, no battle damage involving your Solfachord pendulums, and then upon no more special, target one spell trap your opponent controls, kick it back to your hand. Fancia. While you have an odd pendulum scale, she literally does the exact same thing as Dreamia, but instead of card effects, it is by battle. During your main phase, add one Solfachord pendulum monster from deck to your extra deck face up. So Fancia is your heavy metal foe Electromite of the archetype. Gracia, as well as Angelia. Both share the exact same thing as long as you have an even scale for Gracia and an odd scale for Angelia. Gracia's even scale is, if your Solfachord pendulum monster were to attack, your opponent cannot activate monster effects until the end of the damage step, while Angelia here benefits all Solfachord pendulums to become ancient gear effects for spells and traps. In other words, if you have Gracia and Angelia together on the same field, and if you happen to have a odd scale and an even scale together, Solfachord pendulums, as in all of them, are basically treated as ancient gear monsters whenever they swing. Gracia. Upon normal or special, Stratos of Solfachord spell traps. And then Angelia, during your main phase, so basically activating the effect is the cost. The resolution is tribute one Solfachord Pendulum monster, even if it's face down. Special one Solfachord Pendulum from your deck whose pendulum scale is 2 higher or 2 lower than that isn't Angelia. Butia. As a quick effect, target one effect monster your opponent controls, or if you happen to have even scale, you get to target a face-up spell trap your opponent controls. So basically, if you happen to have a even scale, you get to target literally any face-up card your opponent controls. First chance, whenever the card leaves the field, it actually ends up banished throughout the whole entire turn. And then once per turn at the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster with an equal or higher attack than the lowest pendulum scale in your pendulum zone times 300, kill it. In other words, if you have Kulia in your scale, anything that Butia battles is basically El Shaddai construct. Do Solfachord Kulia, the star attraction of the main deck Solfachord. Special summon this card from your hand by tributing 2 pendulum monsters, does it gotta be Solfachords, each of the following effects of Kulia once. Target one face-up card your opponent controls, or if you happen to have a odd scale, you get to target 2 face-up cards your opponent controls. Until the end of your opponent's entire turn, both of those face-up targets effects ends up negated. And then when an effect of a monster on the field is activated with an equal or lower attack than the highest scale times 300, destroy that monster. Context is if you have Cutia and another copy of Kulia in your scale, Kulia basically acts as Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Now, Solfachord spells. Solfachord Elegance, Scale, Harmonia, Symphony. All of the spells have 3 separate effects, depends on the game state. Elegance. The Solfachord spell you want to see the most. Activate one of those. Place one Solfachord Pendulum from deck to scale, only one. Second effect, which you rather do the most. Add one Solfachord Pendulum from hand to extra deck face up, complete the scale. One odd, one even of a Solfachord Pendulum monster. And then the third effect, doesn't gotta be Solfachord names, but add 2 cards, one odd, one even scale from Pendulum Zones to the extra deck face up, draw 2. So Pot of Greed, pretty good. Solfachord Scale. Apply any of the following effects in sequence based on the number of different named Solfachords you control. 3+, return 1 from scale to hand, and if you do, place 1 face up Solfachord Pendulum monster from your extra deck to the scale. 5 or more, special 1 Solfachord Pendulum from the hand, doesn't matter what level it is, and if for some reason you get up to 7 different named Solfachord Pendulums, destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls, spells and traps included. So this is the ultimatum of Raigeki, if you know how to assemble 7 of the 8 Solfachords correctly. Solfachord, Harmonia. 3 separate effects, and yes, all of them can be used in the same turn. Add 1 face-up Solfachord Pendulum from extra deck to hand. Increase the pendulum scale of 1 Solfachord by its level, aka always guaranteed to be scale 9. And then if you control 3 Solfachords with 3 different odd or 3 different even scales, does not target destroy 1 card your opponent controls. Solfachord Symphony. Apply these effects in sequence based on the number of Solfachords in your extra deck face-up Solfachord Pendulum names. 3+ Solfachord Pendulum monsters you control gain attack equal to their own scale times 300. If for some reason you get up to 5, which rarely comes up, does not target destroy 1 card your opponent controls, and if you happen to have a odd scale in your pendulum scale, draw 1, and if for some reason you get 7 Solfachord Pendulum names, free special 1 grand Solfachord monster from your extra deck. And of course, we got 2 of them, Musea and Coolia. 2 Solfachord traps, Musica, Formal. Hard once, 1 of the following 3 effects according to Musica. Odd scale, special 1 Solfachord from extra deck with an odd scale. Even scale, same thing, but even scale. And if for some reason you get even and odd scale, target 1 card your opponent controls, kill it. Solfachord Formal. An actual counter trap that does not have the negate. While you have a Solfachord cards in your pendulum scales, when your opponent activates a spell trap or a monster effect, shuffle 1 face-up pendulum monster, doesn't gotta be Solfacords, and then apply the following effects for all 3 bullets. Pendulum monsters you control, doesn't gotta be Solfacords, are unaffected by that effect, not all effects, that effect, as in 1 singular effect. Also, cards in your pendulum scales cannot be killed or banished by that effect. 1 singular effect, not all of them. And then the 2 Solfachord extra decks, Musea and Coolia. Now, when it comes to Musea, 2 pendulums is what it takes to make her, while Coolia takes 2+ monsters that includes 1 pendulum to make it as a link 3. Musea, during your main phase, she lets you trade scales from hand to extra deck, and then add 1 from extra deck to hand, as long as 1 is even, 1 is odd, and then 1 is odd, 1 is even, vice versa. So context is, even scale in hand, trade it for an odd scale from extra deck to hand. Otherwise, if you have odd scale in your hand, trade it to the extra deck face up for an even scale to your hand. And then whenever you pendulum summon a Solfachord monsters, more than 1, target 1 of them, add 1 Solfachord pendulum based off from its scale to match its level. Cutia for Coolia, Dreamia for Butea, Elitia for Angelia, and then Fancia for Gracia. And of course, the lower scales do the same thing, search for the opposite, so on and on. And then each effect hard once, and then Kulia gains 100 attack for each face-up pendulum monster in your extra deck. The activated effects of pendulum monsters, doesn't gotta be Solfachords, that Kulia points to cannot be negated. So that means no hand traps that has the word negate in it. No solemn strikes, there's no stopping it. And then whenever your opponent activates a card or effect as a once per turn quick effect, special summon one Solfachord with an odd scale to where it points to, negate it. Then you have the option to put up an even scale from main deck to extra deck face up. So Omni negate with a built-in Electromite. So the odd scales, normally you revive or get out Kulia, Angelia, Fancia, or Dreamia, which is normal, and then your even scale toss outs from deck to extra deck, Beautia, Gracia, Elitia, and Cutia. At the same time, it's where if you have the field spell where you can convert any of your Solfachords to become a scale 9, just so that literally any Solfachord pendulum monster that you just convert to scale 9, you could just literally outright summon that scale 9 Solfachord to where Kulia points to, and then the extra deck toss outs remain the same. Beautia, Gracia, Elitia, Cutia. And that is every single Solfachord card covered. Let's get back to the show. Part 4 of Theme Chronicles Solfachords. Dragon Shrine, toss out 2 Blue Eyes. Maiden, normal. Sage, for Maiden. Maiden, get the OG Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. Grabbing Polly. Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand. We have not saw this XZ in action, and the last place I remember Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand was where during the Shadow Specters or Legacy of the Valiant, one of the 2 sets that involves Felgrand, if I recall correctly. Comment below if it's one of the 2 sets or something different. The way how Felgrand works is rank 8 light warrior, 2800 attack, 1800 defense, 2 level 8 in general to make it. Once per turn, during anyone's turn, detach 1, target 1 face-up monster anywhere on the field, self included, negate its effects, but unaffected by everything else. Felgrand attempt. Ghost Ogre the Felgrand. Ultimate Fusion. Oh my goodness! Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Obviously, as you saw, 3 Blue Eyes is what it takes to make it, as a level 12 Light Dragon, 4500 attack, 3800 defense. Tribute. Oh my goodness! Blue Eyes Shining Dragon! That is so based. That is so based. Level 10 Light Dragon, 3000 attack, 2500 defense. Can't be normal summon set, must be special, no other ways. From the hand, by tributing 1 Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. 300 attack for each dragon in your graveyard. When a card or effect is activated that targets this card as a quick effect, negate that. Not once at all. Multiple chains as well. 3600 of Blue Eyes Shining Dragon. Coolia Scale. Elegance to fix the scale. Duelist Alliance for Pendulum Treasure. Pendulum Treasure for Butia. Pendulum Shogun. Butia. Target the Shining Dragon. And it's a good thing my opponent caught the target right away. Otherwise, I was about to get ready to say, if the Shining Dragon's effect goes unnoticed, this is the part where Shining Dragon would have ended up banished. But instead, Butia takes care of that anyway, and the Blue Eyes player scooped. This next matchup with his hand, solid. Okay, in set deck, Giant Ballpark, B Troopers, 2 Scout Buggies, for Cicada King, and pass. Scale Coolia, Normal Fancia, Special Dreamia, Fancia Attempt, Cicada King, Shift to Defense, Negate Fancia. Hey, Christmas status of Cicada King. And 2 more Scout Buggies, of course. Beyond the Pendulum, get Cutia, Scale it, Pendulum Shogun, 1 through 8, that means 2 through 7. PS3, Beyond the Pendulum for the Spell and Exceed. Dreamia, Beyond Over to Scout Buggies, 16, 23. Angelia, Tribute Dreamia for another Fancia. 2 for Masquerina. Meknak Crusadia Avermax, and 1 set. Set, Giant Ballpark, Small World. Okay, Small World time. Shiny Black Sea Squatter. Earth in set 4, 2000, no defense. Fairy Ant the Circular Sorcerer. Wind Inset, for some reason that is an inset and not a spellcaster or a fairy. 800 attack, 1500 defense. And it reads, if an inset or plant is in either graveyard, free special this card from the hand. Special once per turn this way. And then, if this card you control will be used as secret material for an inset or plant, treat it as a non-tuner. Leading to Crawler Spine. Okay, so straight up crawlers. Okay, Small World Universal Moments. Shiny Black Sea is the first thing. Earth 4-star 2000, no defense, insect. Fairy Ant. Wind 3-star 800, 1500, and insect. So Squatter, Fairy Ant, insect, leading into Crawler Spine. Level 2, 300 attack, 2100, Earth insect. Okay, so Squatter, Earth insect, Fairy Ant, insect, leading to Crawler Spine, which compares to Squatter. And set the spine. Scale. Grab Cutia, scale the Dreamia, normal Cutia, grab the Gracia, Pendulum Shogun, PS3, Gracia, getting Harmonia, Harmonia activates, Harmonia, kill the field spell, and then the inset player scoop. And this next matchup, looking at this hand, it's something. Sublimation Knight, Squeak Knight Special. Make it a tuner, Pit Knight early. One set. Wait, what? Shouldn't that, Sublimation Squeak Knight line is supposed to go off? Let me see what went wrong with this. Not that. And then it was Squeak Knight. Oh, there it is. There's the faulty clause. Activate this. Treat this card as a tuner. Also, you can only special summon once from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. Have the Squeak Knight player not activate its effects, none of that would have happened. So instead, Pit Knight early and a set. Change your heart on Pit Knight early. Coolia scaled, Dreamia special. Two together. Beyond the Pendulum. Beyond the Pendulum, pay 12, getting Gracia, Scale Cutia, 1 through 8, 2 through 7, PS3. Beyond the Pendulum, destroy one of my own cards in the back row, Gracia search for Harmonia. What do we hit? The one of Crossout. Harmonia, bring it back. Normal Cutia. Rescue Ace. Some most cases Impulse for Fire Attacker. Grab Elitia, Fire Attacker. Draw 2, discard Contain. Scale Elitia. Butia, target Fire Attacker. Monitor, revive Impulse. Harmonia, kill off and banish Fire Attacker. Gracia over Impulse. 12, 13, 900, 27. Set. 2 together for Grand Solfachord Coolia, just so that we have the 2 open spots for the negates. Summoned out Jet Synchron and Rescue Ace / Fire Good Stuff scooped. this final showdown with this hand, all I can say is, depends on what my opponent plays. Opponent better put out the most insane board, otherwise this game is a wrap. The epic showdown representing the other half of Artistic Angels, the archetype known as the Weather. Normal summon Snow. Snow gets Snow Canvas. Yo! Shatter Foil Snowy Canvas. That's wild. Snow Banish for Forecast. Forecast. Rainbow Canvas. Double Summon Thunder. And pass. The little snow that could. Special it out. Elegance. Toss out Angelia. Complete the scale. Duelist Alliance for Pendulum Treasure. Pendulum Treasure. Toss out Gracia. Normal Cutia. Grabbing Dreamia. Dreamia. Free special. 2 together for Beyond the Pendulum. Beyond the Pendulum for Elitia. Symphony activates. 1 and 8. Levels 2 through 7. PS4. Beyond the Pendulum. Kill off the 2 weather monsters. Gracia grab a spell trap. Harmonia. Destroy the 2 weather monsters. And that does it for the Artistic Angel Showdown, as the Solfachord player is going to OTK against the Weather. Onwards to the deck profile. Okay, so the 38% of the audience viewers, well, more like the YouTube community in terms of the polls, voted for Solfachords, and honestly, with the 2 other cards in terms of support, with Symphony and Kulia, they made this deck a whole lot functioned as it should be. Now, for the deck profile, 3 Cutia, 2 Dreamia. Originally, I thought of 3, but 3 was too much, so I said, you know what? I'm gonna cut down one of the Dreamias just so that I wanted to see the Dreamia more often. Same goes for the 2 Elitia, and composing a spell trap when being pendulum summoned is super nice, and it makes it so that you are able to gain ground and put up more tempo. 3 Fancia, basic, Gracia, Angelia, Butia. They are high level Solfachords. You literally do not need more than 1. And then 2 Kulias. Main deck Kulia is absolutely insane. And then both Butia and Kulia both have their niche effects about ways to disrupt your opponent to some degree. You're able to put up pressure. Same goes for Gracia and Angelia together, as long as you have an odd for Angelia and even scale for Gracia. You're basically turning your pendulum Solfachords into ancient gears. And then the Solfachord spells and traps. 3 elegance, you want to see it the most. 1 scale. 1 harmonia. 1 symphony for the OTK. 1 Musica, and 1 Formal. That's all for the Solfachord cards. And then non-engine cards. Droll Bird. This was one of the cards I cut the 3rd Dreamia for the Droll, because if you noticed from my extra deck, I have Artemis as well as Selene and the 4 basic Charmers, which we will get into at the moment. That's for the Charmer package with the Selene leading to the Avramax. Ghost Ogre, Ash, both are hard ones per turns, and then non-engine spells. Change of Heart, Duelist Alliance, only 1 because it is a hard once. Triple Tactics Talent, most of the times when it comes to Tactics Talents, it's basically where if I already have the most insane hand of hands, I can either pick my opponent's hand to board break or take their monster and proceed to play with caution. Pendulum Treasure is basically Fancia number 4, but again, we can only play 3 Fancia, and then Pendulum Treasure is the 4th copy of Fancia. Extra Pendulum. Extra Pendulum definitely came up on a very small occasion, but in case if your first Pendulum summon goes wrong, Extra Pendulum can always back you up on that one. And then 2 Forbidden Chalices, 2 Cosmic Cyclones, Called by the Grave, Pendulum Reborn, 3 Infinite Impermanents. You're not trying to lose to the opponent's thrust and or talents. And then extra deck. Starting off with the links first. The Charmer package consists of Aria, Osa, Win, Hita, Selene, and Artemis, courtesy of Droll and Lobbird, and the 4 Charmer links. It's basically to match with the 4 basic attributes of Solfachord. Nothing to say about that. And then the Artemis, that's meant for your Droll and Lobbird after you establish with Selene. Selene is your first step. Well, technically, Charmer is your first step. Steal the corresponding attribute, make Selene. Selene get the counters, remove the 3 for Droll and Lobbird, link Droll into Artemis, and then both Selene and Artemis from the extra deck. That gives you Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax. Clearly the best card out of everything else in the extra deck that's not Solfachord related. No doubt about that. And Avramax comes up clutch, especially the fact that if it's under IP Masquerena in some games, which is absolutely insane. And then Trickstar Foxglove Vitch. If you're wondering about Foxglove, 2+ fairies to make them, and what do you know? Solfachord happens to be fairies. She's only meant for closing out games a lot faster in case for some reason you do not have lethal, and for some reason if this link summoned Foxglove Vitch gets killed by battle or card effect, this lets you get your Holy Angel out of the extra deck, and then for every card they control, they lose 200 life. So Foxglove Vitch puts in a lot of work. And then as for the rest of the extra deck, 2 Royal Rare Museas, I think the card did not come up at all, or probably one time to some degree. If not, then at least it's something. But Musea is really good, just to search out your leftover missing key pieces of Solfacords whenever you pendulum summon them, and then trading scales from odd to even, or even to odd scales is super niche, so that you are able to keep your combo plays going. Beyond the pendulum, if they don't stop this card, I'm literally winning this game. Grand Solfachord Kulia. Kulia is absolutely crap, no doubt about that. And then Ignis the Prominence, the Blasting Draco Slayer. Now, as you guys saw earlier about that pendulum summoned Ash, I literally never had an opportunity to make Ignis the Prominence, and I was actually so close of making it in the very final game until the opponent scooped. But you know what? Whatever happens, it happens. So let's consider Ignis the Prominence was getting ready to be made one time only. And with that being said, this has been James Polk on the Theme Chronicle of Solfachord. Obviously, we got more missions to do, and of course, we took 22,000 points for the new title of Theme Chronicle. Obviously, you guys know the drill. Check out my channel page. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you haven't already, smash the notification bell to keep yourself constantly updated. And we'll catch you guys in the continuation of Theme Chronicles. Peace.